Hi, sis. Have you ever, just out the blue, just start thinking and, you was thinking about your relationships, and the thought that came to your mind was it seemed like all your relationships ended up the same. Not the same people, though, but just the way things ended, incidents that happened during the relationship. Yeah, like the patterns, maybe they all were kind of like the same. Also, maybe like the same kind of confusion, the same discourse, the same outcome in general of the whole relationship, the same ups and downs that keeps happening every time you get with somebody and get in a different relationship. This same stuff keeps happening. Yep. And then it's like at some point you start asking yourself why do I even keep choosing this? What is making me choose these type of people? It's a different person physically, but emotionally and everything else, it's the same person, the same type of person. So then it's why? Why? You're probably why am I why do I keep choosing this? Yep. If that's you, let's talk about it, because it's not like it's bad luck or something like that. It's bigger than that. And what's happening is that a lot of times you're not choosing randomly. Mm-mm. It's not random at all. You're choosing more so what feels familiar. Yeah. You're choosing familiarity. And familiarity doesn't just always come from what's healthy, though. That's the caveat to it. Just because it's familiar doesn't mean that it's healthy. Yep. And then it comes from what your mind and your body recognizes. That's why it's called familiarity, because your mind and body recognizes it. Yep. And so let's go a little bit deeper into what that means and what's happening. So your nervous system, it learns patterns over time is what happens. Your nervous system begins to just remember these things, and so it learns these patterns over time. And so if you've ever experienced things for example, inconsistencies or emotional distance or feeling unsure in relationships as to where you stand, it could be anything those type of situations that happen. I don't even know where I stand here in this relationship, or they're distant all the time, or they're short, they're just so disrespectful, or they can't be honest. You can't be honest to save their life, you know what I'm saying? Or also your body, what happens is your body begins to, it can begin to associate with those behaviors, and so then it conforms with a connection with all of those incidents or different scenarios. Not feeling safe, argumentative spirit, ups and downs in the relationship, dishonesty, rejection. Now your body is kind of familiar because you've been through it so much. Yeah. And so this is what it's like. I try to not be clinical and stuff like that, because I am a nurse and I love explaining what happens to your body or mentally, psychologically, the effects that it has on us. But I also like to give analogies so to make it make sense. So for example, it's your mind is like a relationship blueprint, okay? So think of blueprints like a house. When you're going to build a house, every house has like a blueprint. This is going to be here, this is going to be here, and this is always going to be here. I'm going to add this here, okay? The blueprint. Think of your mind as a blueprint, okay? So what happens is, like, even if this blueprint that your mind has remembered, dishonesty, distant, confusion, ups and downs, discourse, argumentative spirits, stuff like that. That's the blueprint that you're remembering, because that's what you've always like attracted. And so your mind is like that relationship blueprint. And so what happens is that even though like that blueprint is like, let's say it's not healthy, even though it's not healthy, it still keeps building that same type of design. Just like a house, like in production, they have this model, and this model. These are the houses that's going to be built in this development, right? That's how your mind is doing with all the things that you've been through. It's like the blueprint. So your mind is going to keep on building on that same design and keep on looking for that same type of person, because that's the blueprint, because of, everything that you've gone through. And so the thing is that, like, so even though you may meet different people, the dynamic still feels the same though, because again, you have that blueprint. And so let's talk about like why it may keep happening. Let's talk about why it keeps happening. And sometimes it keeps happening because it's like, it's not about like that same person. Not necessarily, it's like not necessarily about that same person, but more so it's about like what feels normal to you and what is known to you. Yeah. So it's not necessarily about that person. It's about, what's normal and what's known to you. And so, like, sometimes it connects to something deeper, meaning what's known to you and the behaviors that's known to you and the behaviors that you're like used to. Sometimes that's connected to something deeper. So, like, let's talk about like some inner patterns that could be, connected to, like, at any time in your life. Let's say, for example, love felt for you inconsistent or unpredictable, or like something had to just work for, like somebody made you feel like, or you felt like you had to work hard just to keep somebody's love or get affection from somebody. And love was always inconsistent for you, like they one day they say this, the next day they're doing this, or they say this out their mouth but their actions show that that's inconsistent, okay? And so what happens in that is that if you've dealt with that like over and over and over, that part of your mind and your nervous system and everything got used to, like, oh, okay, this is what love probably feels like, or this is what love feels like, because that's the push and pull that like you were getting. And so now that's what your blueprint is. And so you're in your mind, it's like, this is what love felt like, because that's all you've ever experienced. And so when something different actually does show up, or you get a different type of person that's like loving, caring, actual genuine, want to take care of you, want to do things the right way, support you. If you are a single parent, they want to be there for the kids. So all of that is going to feel unfamiliar. And so when something different shows up like that, what happens is that even though it's something like steady, calm, and consistent, the thing is that it still can feel unfamiliar, because that's not what you're used to. So let's talk about now, like, what happens like with inside your body, because remember, I'm a nurse, and so I like to kind of bring it all, like, go through the whole thing. So let's talk about what happens inside your body. So like I talked about, so then you have that pull, like you're pulled toward certain people, okay, because again, your blueprint. So that that kind of helps you or makes you kind of be pulled toward those certain people. And so now what happens is, because it's a constant and you've dealt with this over and over and over, so now what happens is that your nervous system, it starts recognizing those things and behaviors as a pattern. Okay, so now your nervous system is recognizing that. So then what happens is, even if that pattern is not good for you, your mind may still say like, I want something different. But then your body will say, or your body will go toward what's familiar. Your mind is saying, I want something different, but physically you still go toward what was actually familiar to you. Yep. And so then your body's like, okay, well, go here because this is familiar. Even though your mind is saying, "No, I want something different. I want somebody that's going to be good to me. I want somebody that's going to be reciprocal, like what I give, they're going to give." Your body is still saying no, but go here. Because it's familiar. This is what's comforting. This is what you're used to. Just go here. And so instead of asking yourself, maybe like, why do I keep choosing the wrong person though? So we're thinking about, okay, now I have the knowledge that this is what's going on. Instead of being down on yourself and hard on yourself and saying, why do I keep choosing the same person then? Just maybe say something like, try asking and figuring out something like, what feels familiar about this dynamic though? Why is it familiar? Like, what in this dynamic is feeling familiar? Like, why? And so, because that's where you're going to find your answer. Like, why is it familiar? Like, what about this whole thing is familiar, and why? And that's where your answer is going to be at, because that's where you're going to be able to have the light bulb come on and be like, oh, this is why. Because when, you know, I feel like, this is just something I'm throwing out. You could be like, I feel like, if I hold boundaries or something like that, they're not going to stay. Or I feel like, the last time I put my foot down, they it didn't go well. They were, nasty. So now I just let people just run over me even if I'm not happy. Now I just do whatever they say, and even if it doesn't benefit me at all or my household. So I just it all started when, 5 years ago, so and so did this and this was a result, and it hurt me so bad. I never wanted to feel like that. It could be something like that. So make sure you can track down like why it started, or why you started choosing those type of people or those type of relationship. And then you can also like remind yourself of that, like, familiar does not mean that it's right for you. Just because this is familiar territory, that don't mean that it's healthy or right for you. Just because it's familiar, okay? And so just understand too that, like, God is not trying to like keep you stuck in cycles. He wants you to thrive. You're not meant to just keep on going in cycles and going in cycles, because sometimes he reveals the patterns for you so you can get out the cycle and break it, okay? And so what he has for you, just understand too that what God has for you, it's not going to require you to keep repeating what hurt you. Yeah, he doesn't want you to be hurt over and over in that cycle. So what he has for you is not going to require you to keep on getting hurt over and over and over. Okay? So if you've been feeling like you're choosing like the wrong people all the time, the same type of person over and over and over, just understand that, like, you're not stuck in that cycle. You can break the cycle, but it starts with you acknowledging and recognizing, hey, where did this? Why did I start doing this? Now that you bring that up, every time I get in a relationship, or every time I, have some commitment, this person is like this. Why am I a magnet to these type of people with these type of behaviors? So then you go back and track, when was the last time I had a healthy relationship or somebody that cared? Like what happened to, in my life that made me just say, you know what, and whatever, I'm just gonna keep going with this. They look so good even though they're terrible to me. Okay. So just remember that, you've just been choosing what's familiar. Okay. And so now that you've become more aware, and what happens is awareness is where, like I said, where all your healing's going to start. And now you're going to be like, oh, let me think about that. Or, nope, I don't want that. I don't want to get in this cycle again. Okay. So if this message helped you, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. For those who don't know, my name's Melinda. I'm a registered nurse, a life coach, and a mentor. And on our channel, we focus on faith, healing, and emotional wellness. And the channel is all about growth and just trying to help us heal through things. And also, if you're not going through anything, just kind of give us insight as to like why certain people do what they do, or just behaviorally why you like this message, why you may choose the type of partner you choose, or helping you over different hurdles. My goal is to breathe life into you every day. That I post a video. I do try to post every day, but I do post for different things and different topics because it's a growth channel. I'm a nurse, and so I'm always trying to help people heal internally and externally. Okay, so if this message touched you in any kind of way, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to have you on the channel, so please like and subscribe. Have a blessed, wonderful day or night, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you. Peace, love, joy, and happiness. I'm always going to wish you peace, love, joy, and happiness. I hope you have a marvelous day today. Bye.